Let's welcome, with a West Tampa welcome, the Honorable Bob Henriquez.
Wow. Put this someplace on it. I don't want to drop this thing. First of all, Leroy, congratulations on your Man of the Year. You mentioned Publix. My daughter's going to be working there, so thank you for that as well. And for Audrey, I don't know if you realize this is definitely a West Tampa event because I think we actually pledged allegiance to the Empanada. Next year, if whoever wins it next year, bring a flag. Well, good evening, everyone. Before I begin, let me recognize some folks that are here to help celebrate with us tonight that are most important to me. My family, my North Star, go ahead and you can stand if you want. My wife Carrie, my daughter Elin, Emma, my son Drew, who's a senior at Tampa Catholic, and our Tampa Catholic folks are in the house. Make sure we recognize those folks. I know Jesuit kicked our butt a couple weeks ago, but tonight's our night, baby. And I will tell you, Bob Lees, who's the president of our great alma mater, my son said, "How long is it going to be tonight? Because I've got homework." So I told him that. I think Bob gave him a dispensation, so we're happy about that. The Guida family, thank you. I'm just incredibly humbled to be. To have this honor. I thought it was, now I actually am convinced by EJ that I may have deserved it, but before I thought it was just because I blocked for George. Maybe he broke a couple runs off as a result of it. And to my, I've got folks here that were, and Ana Cruz, our First Lady, our City of Tampa First Lady, long before she was City of Tampa's First Lady, she was my first campaign manager, so it's great to have her here and some of my staff from my legislative times, and of course my HCPA, Hillsborough County Property Appraisers. They make me look good every day. Many of my staff are here, so just want to make sure, if I've forgotten anybody, well, I'm getting old. Let's see if this thing works. Well, first of all, for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests are here, esteemed members of West Tampa Chamber of Commerce, I am truly humbled to stand here before you to accept this award from the West Tampa Chamber. To receive this recognition from this organization in particular that has such a long, steadfast history as a champion for our businesses, our workforce, our community, make this moment incredibly meaningful to me. When I first entered public service, and Anna will remember this, my goal was simple. It was just to give back to this community and to all those that had given so much to me. And for me, it's always been about leadership and service by example. Not power, not politics. And along the way, I've been fortunate to work with dedicated business leaders like many of the folks in this room, tireless community advocates, passionate colleagues who shared the same vision. So this award is not just a reflection of my work, it's a reflection of the partnerships, the friendships, and the collective effort that make West Tampa what it is. Like so many of you in this room, my connection is, as EJ spoke to West Tampa spans literally generations. And I often joke that I'm actually a product of a mixed marriage. My mother was from Ybor City, and my father's from West Tampa. If you know, you know. My great-grandfather was the last mayor of West Tampa before the city was annexed to the city of Tampa. Now I found out tonight after EJ spoke that he was actually the first to, first one out there to put out false or fake news, because He actually was to have said that at the time that the city was annexed into the city of Tampa, that it was financially and infrastructurally better than the city of Tampa. So apparently that wasn't the case. Now, I wasn't there at that annexation, but Charlie Miranda told me all about it. Now, I know we can't quite say those things today, whether they were true or not, but I'm really heartened by the renewed attention and investment that our city is making in this proud and historic community. Much of the progress in this is thanks to the dedication of the West Tampa Chamber and everyone in this room. They continue to fight for our future. As I reflected on what I would share tonight, I kind of kept asking myself, well, what makes West Tampa West Tampa? And I realized it's not just a place, it's a sense of place. It's where neighbors still care about neighbors. It's where folks lend a hand to fix a roof or a car. They keep an eye on each other's homes. It's where a group of guys still gather in a local coffee shop or cigar bar, just like their fathers or grandfathers did. They relive old memories. They lament the issues of the day, and at least in their mind, they solve all the world's problems in about 45 minutes over a cup of café con leche. That's true. You'll see them tomorrow. It's where we see each other in the grocery store, the meat market, and stop to ask how our families are doing. Above all, this is a place of authenticity. It's where people don't put on airs, and being politically correct has always meant electing the right people to represent the community and not themselves. Where else could you go in one place to get a cup of guarapo and some oxtail while having a used tire put on and maybe get something to feed your pet snake? It's true, and don't ask what else might be going on behind the building. West Tampa is a place, Audrey, where we remember cheap devil crabs, and by the way, I think yours are the best and the cheapest in town. And Anna, your mother bequeathed the devil crab contest to us, so we're going to do that in February. So we'll need judges. This is also a place where we know that black beans should go on white rice, by the way. It's a place where Jack Espinosa could make you laugh and cringe with one of his jokes in the same sentence. It's where EJ Salcines walks among us literally as a living volume of history. Thank you so much for introducing me tonight. I'm honored. It's where leaders like my cousin Lou Delapart, Elvin Martinez, and Charlie Miranda set a standard of service that I've been blessed to follow. Over the years, I've sought advice from great public servants like Dick Greco, who told me when people try to label you politically, just tell them you're reasonable. And Senator Helen Gordon Davis, who, when I sat down with her at the Valencia Gardens for the first time, she said, "First off, you need to lose weight." I'm still working on it. West Tampa remains a place where our best and brightest come back home to raise their families and give back, and often in their old family homesteads or close by. And of course, we'll give them the homestead exemption. What makes Tampa great and what has really always made Tampa itself great are its traditions. And I believe that West Tampa, more than any place else, is where tradition meets tomorrow. We all have seen the tremendous growth and progress that's happened across our city, particularly downtown and finally now crossing Leroy to the west side of the river. But as we embrace this renaissance, we must ensure that we don't lose the essence of who we are and how we got here. West Tampa is not a museum piece. It must regain its place as a thriving, successful, iconic community that continues to grow while holding tight to its roots and inclusive of what has built its history and new generations to come. With respect to tonight, to receive the Legacy Award is not something I really considered. It made me think of legacy, which is kind of scary. What's next, memorial? I don't know. It's something that you leave, but for myself, it's more important how you live your legacy and how you build it every day. I would be remiss if I didn't touch on probably the two most important people in my life tonight, if I can do this, my parents. You mentioned my father, Mario. He was an amazing man. He was my rock. He was the rock of our family. He was a hardworking guy, taught me the value of a good hard day's work, and he was the foundation of our family. My mother, she was the glue. Like with so many of our families, she held us all together, talked us off the ledge from time to time, and she was my confidant. She was the person that we dreamed together. We schemed together. And we talked about, I guess, some of the things that maybe I've accomplished over the course of time. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to express these stories here tonight, but I think they kind of fit. If you would indulge me for a moment, I've really never said some of these things in public, but I want to do that here tonight. Some of the folks in the room that are close to me have heard this. But it really has to do with how you touch people with public service that you may not even know, and what has guided me. When my father passed away, and he passed away early in the week, and my office called, and some of the folks that are here may have been, they'll remember this. And they said, well, you know, Coach, we've cleared your calendar for this week. We know it's a tough week. You've got a lot of stuff to take care of and this and that. There's just one thing left. We're not sure what you want to do about it. And I said, well, what is it? They said, well, you're speaking at a breakfast on Friday at Mitchell Elementary. And I said, well, you know, I probably need to get back up on the horse. It's fine. I'm going to do that. And I really wasn't paying attention to what it was. I just figured I would go and kind of riff about the legislative process or what was going on in the legislature and what have you. And so I went that Friday morning, and PTA president and the principal met me outside, and they said, thank you so much for coming, Representative. We're sorry for your loss, you know, as you might suspect. And it's great that you're here, especially given the nature of our breakfast. And I said, well, why is that? And they said, well, it's our father's breakfast. Yeah. So everything I was going to say kind of went out the window, and I just talked about my hero. I talked about my father and what he meant to me and what kind of a man he was. And that was it. Don't remember half of what I said, really, to be honest with you, because it just came from the heart. And so fast forward a number of months, probably even a year later, I'm not even sure, and we had our delegation meeting, and that you have prior to going up to Tallahassee with the local bills and what have you. And I stepped out for a moment, I think, to powder my nose. And so literally this lady comes running out of into the hallway. She's like, Representative Henriquez, I need to talk to you. And I said, sure. I didn't know what the issue may be. And I said, you know, she said, I just want to thank you. I said, thank me for what? She goes, I think you saved my marriage. I said, okay. I'm in the legislature, people break up people's marriages. I don't know if we save them. But I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, well, do you remember you spoke at a breakfast a while back at Mitchell Elementary? It was the week that your father died. I said, yeah, I did remember that. And she said, well, my husband was there. And he was so inspired what you had to say about your father that he came home that day and he rededicated himself to our marriage and to our kids. And, you know, it's been rough, but I think we're going to make it. And I just want to thank you for that. Now, you know, we can measure ourselves by awards and plaques and names on stuff, but when you realize that you can make a difference in somebody's life like that and not even realize you're doing it, that's what public service is all about. That's what's driven me all along the way. And I'm sorry these stories both have to do with my parents passing away, but here we go. The night that my mother passed, so this is a true story. So I got a phone call, get to the hospital, something's happened. I get to the hospital, my brothers met me in the parking lot. And as they came up, my brother Jack, who was going to be here tonight, but he had a rehearsal, he's a musician, and most of you know that. He literally hugged me, and my brother Ronnie, who's passed on now, but Ronnie said, it's Mom, pal, we lost her. And I still remember it like it was yesterday, and my legs felt like they were going to come out from underneath me. You know, when you get news like that. My brother pushed me back against the car. And the strange thing came to mind, first thing came to my mind, I just said, this is impossible. It can't be. There's so much left to do. There's so much more to do. So tonight, as I accept this award, I don't see this as a conclusion, but as a reminder that there's still so much work to be done. And we must continue to strengthen our community, empower our businesses, and ensure that West Tampa, that we love, remains vibrant and for generations to come. I want to thank the West Tampa Chamber of Commerce for this tremendous honor. To my family, all my friends, colleagues, and everyone who has supported me on this journey, I am so deeply grateful. May West Tampa always be that place where tradition meets tomorrow. Thank you so much.